Seems like you've started to get some consistency from Sarah Williams. Just what in the last couple weeks have you seen from her development-wise?
A little more aggressiveness, you know. I think she's rebounding the ball more consistently. You know, that's something that we've talked about. She's becoming more comfortable as a passer, you know. So all in all, I think little bit at a time, the improvement is obviously very, very noticeable, and you know, we're going to need it down the road, and I think she'll keep getting better at it.
Geno, you just mentioned Sarah, and there are segments of the game where you see Blanca, and I think, like, wow, how do you take her off the court? How do you go about developing, like, the right rotation and the right roles and minutes handed out on a team with so many capable forwards?
Well, there's not enough minutes. That's just the bottom line. I mean, if there was 48, it might be a little bit easier. If you had less players, it would be a little bit easier. But, you know, the situation we find ourselves in, there just aren't enough minutes for everybody who you'd like to get minutes for. So you do the best you can, try to find the right combination as much as you can. I think sometimes in that fourth quarter, you look out there and you go, obviously that's not a great combination, but, you know, what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to play guys 35 minutes just because you want it to look good? You know, as far as Blanca's concerned, yeah, I would say Blanca helps me out with that because she does just enough things out there to make it easy to get her off the court.
Coach, 6 assists from Kaye today. Looked like she had a bit more control of the offense. Did you notice any shift from her after the trip back home from USC? Do you think that was more of a one-off, or is that kind of a wake-up call for her?
I don't know. I think it's probably natural that you know, the emotions of going back and you know, playing against people that were your teammates at one time, playing in a place where you played at your home games, and probably, you know, some great memories there. I asked her, why would you, when she fouled the kid taking a jump shot late in the game, and I asked her why she fouled the kid in a 30-point game. She said, I didn't want her to score. Well, you didn't want her to score that way. You wanted her to score making free throws. So we're trying to teach her scoring is scoring. And USC is a really good school, too. You would think she would know better. She must have not gone to class a lot there.
Before she came out, Curl looked really comfortable out there. Just do you feel like she's starting to get a bit more of a consistent rhythm on the court?
For bits and pieces of time, you know, then she had to take herself out. Maybe that was too many minutes, you know, in a row. But yeah, you know, she's putting a lot of pressure on herself to try to get back to where she was, and then she'll have flashes where she looks really, really good, and then she'll be less than what she wants to be and gets frustrated and tries really hard. So I'm glad some things worked really well for her today. You know, she looks like somewhat of her old self. It's just being able to adjust to the new you know. That was part of the conversation we had.
Geno, 10 straight games with 20 assists. Just your thoughts on a lot of new guys on your roster. Have they meshed quicker than you thought they would as far as looking for each other at the right times?
That's probably a part of it. There's a truism that if you have a couple really good passers on your team, it becomes contagious and people become better passers just being around people that are good passers. We've been averaging 12 turnovers a game. Doesn't sound like a lot, when you're scoring 90 points a game. And we had 11 in the first half. But it's not. It's not a part of our game where we're missing opportunities because we don't take advantage of them. We're a good passing team, and assists usually involve two things: a person that's good at passing the ball, and the person they pass it to is good at scoring. So we happen to have both of those things right now. How many assists do we have? 24. I think if you were to go back 30 years and you look at those assist totals, they would probably look like that every year, every game. It's just kind of who we are, So it bugs me when the ball gets stuck, like you're watching today and the ball's stuck on one side, the ball's stuck, everybody's looking at each other. I like when the things just keep moving, and the ball's moving and people are moving, because it does help you become a better passer.
For the players that aren't necessarily in the rotation right now, is there still a way for them to show that they can perform and get back in? Like in the NFL, coaches say that first teamers get the snaps in practice and everyone else is scout team, so it's hard to break in. But are there still opportunities for those players to show that they deserve more minutes in practice?
Yes and no. Just because you deserve them, the person ahead of you has to not deserve them. Otherwise, you have two people that are deserving, and there's not enough minutes for two of them. So you have to be efficient with the minutes you do get. And then you start to build trust, trust among your teammates, trust from your coaches, that you can handle yourself in situations where where the coaches are going to need you, where we want to put you in. But this idea that you can have 13 players or 12 or whatever the number is, I don't even know how many we have. How many guys played today? 1, 2, 3. How many? 12. That, realistically you can play, you can get a lot of minutes or meaningful minutes for 12 players, or even 10 or 11, even 10 in a 40-minute game. It's challenging for the coaches, challenging for the players, because everybody wants to play. I don't know that some of the guys that are in the rotation right now will come up to me and volunteer, hey, coach, listen, don't play me as much, play somebody else. I mean, I know it's Christmas, but I don't think they're that generous.
Geno, expanding on Jim's question a little bit, can you add the defensive end to it and talk about the cohesiveness of this team? Is it where you want it, where you expected it at this point of the season, and talk about how the pieces are kind of fitting together of the big puzzle?
A little bit. I think a little bit. Sometimes, sometimes you play great defensively. I thought we were better defensively against USC than we were tonight, simply because the quality of shots USC got were not high percentage shots. Sometimes your defense looks really good because the other team misses, and so for me, I look at what kind of shots did they get? Did they get open shots and just miss them, or did we do a great job not letting them have, we're trying to concentrate really, really hard on taking some things like, in today's world, you have to be really, really good defensively defending the three-point line, and I think that's something that you're constantly working on. So that's something that I'm never satisfied with. And you have to be really good at your transition defense. And that's something that most coaches are never satisfied with. And you have to be great at defensive rebounding. So if you can do those three things, then your defense looks pretty good, Did I think we would be this good this time of the season? What's our record? 11 games in the season? I don't know. Last year it took us a long time to become a really, 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 really good defensive team. So I think time will tell, But I like where we are. I think we could be a lot better though.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, what's working in those possessions where they're either taking a shot really late in the shot clock or you're forcing a shot clock violation when you're set up in the half court?
A combination of things. I think teams that play against us, you say, well, they took a long time in the shot clock to get a good shot. Well, they want to take a long time because if they shoot too early in the shot clock, that means they either got a great shot, which would piss me off, right? So if they shoot early in the shot clock and we come down and score, and they shoot early in the shot clock and we go down and score, that's just giving us way more possessions to score more points. So teams, part of their strategy is to kind of run it down and limit how many times we touch the ball. So we have to be disruptive. We have to force them to shoot earlier. We've got to force them into rush shots. But so we try to analyze that after every game. Was it intentional, run the shot clock down, or they just couldn't find a good shot? Sometimes it's a combination of the two. Either way, it's pretty good though. If it's a bad shot, if it's run it down to 10 seconds and they get a great shot. There's teams I remember years ago we played Villanova. If they got up 40-35, they're just going to hold the ball for the rest of the game. And it was a pain in the butt, man. So you want to make sure that you're constantly being disruptive, forcing the action. Emily.
Azzy's still perfect on free throws after tonight. Would you like to see her trying
She'll
to
miss
get to the
5 of
rim?
them against Iowa because you brought that up.
But would you like to see her trying to draw fouls, get to the rim a little bit more,
Yeah.
given how consistent she is?
Yeah, I mean, she gets to the basket. I think maybe more. I've always been like this, that when you're a great free throw shooter, you should be going out of your way to get fouled. I remember Shea Ralph was great at it. She was such a good free throw shooter. She would foul you when she had the ball, knowing that she would get the call. She would go out of her way to make sure she got hit before. She would never shoot a layup unless somebody hit her. It was uncanny how she could do it. Some people just know how to draw fouls. So yeah, I would like AZ to be at the free throw line more often, but at the same time, I don't want her to all of a sudden get away from her rhythm of how she's playing. Would she shoot from the three-point line? She only got 4 of them off today. Yeah, we didn't shoot as many threes as I hoped for.
Just shift the gears a little bit to Saturday. Just what are your thoughts on Iowa and the top 11 matchup?
They're really good. They're really good because they're really well balanced. Their post players are really good. They're smart, they're tough, they, they finish around the basket. They make like 8 or 9 threes a game. So it's a good team that can do both of those, 2 things really well. They could score with their bigs in the lane, and their transition offense is really, really, really good. A lot of times when you have great transition offense, you're not throwing the ball in the lane a lot, But, yeah, I think they're going to be a real challenge. They're going to be a real test for us to see how good our defense really is, and especially our post defense. They're really good, though. They're really good.
There was a time where your team was mostly regional, and we're heading to Christmas. How's the dynamic different now that you have kids from multiple countries, and do they just kind of stay stateside with teammates, and how do you think that might help the team even come closer if that's what they do?
It varies. It varies. Depends how much time we have, but everybody likes to be home for Christmas. Thanksgiving, they just jump in a car with somebody that lives in the area or stay local, but, when Christmas time comes around, I think everybody likes to be home, so they do whatever they can to get home. Sometimes you just can't, but we try really, really hard to make sure that we do everything we can to give them an opportunity to get home. This year, it's not that bad, At 20, we played the 20th, right? We got 21, 22, 23, 24. So hopefully the airlines will cooperate. There won't be a lot of delays, and they'll be able to get to where they're going. But yeah, everybody wants to be home for Christmas, for sure. The only one I remember is Fred. I never went home for Christmas. So but I enjoyed having her in my house, but I've always felt kind of a little bit like, I'm sure she'd like to be home, So we try really hard to get them home. All good? Thanks, guys.